filing for my visa was January 25th, and I got my visa on the 26th of January, so less than 24 hours. To apply for the Innovator visa, you need to have £50,000 investment for the business. I spent £10,000 to work with this attorney to guide me from scratch to the end up until when I got my visa. The fee that I paid my attorney, that 10K was just money that I paid to him, like his own fee. So every other fee I paid has nothing to do with like the visa process, any other money that I paid. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're seeing me for the first time, hello. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do well to subscribe and follow me on all of my social media platforms. Like this video as well because it will help the algorithm. My last video, I talked about some of the changes that has happened in my life and how I relocated from the US to the UK on an Innovator visa. So one of the questions I get asked the most by people is how I did it, like what was the process like. So in today's video, I'm just going to be sharing my experience from start to finish. Now, I'm going to be making a different video about the UK Innovator visa, documents needed, costs, different endorsement bodies, all of that, visa application process, all of that. So if you're interested in that video, let me know and I'll make the video. But if there's no interest, I'll definitely just move on. But this video is just centered around my experience. When I was gonna make this video, I decided to search on YouTube and there wasn't any video I saw of someone that shared their experience on how they got the UK Innovator visa. And I know that there are people that are on this visa as well. We're not a lot, but I didn't see. And I did it like yesterday. Today is the 1st of January 2024. And when I was going through the process, when I was doing my personal research, I also did not see anything. So when people were reaching out to me, I definitely knew I was going to make a video about it, but I wasn't ready. There was just a lot going on in my life. So if you are someone who just stumbled on this video because you're searching, doing the research, I got you. I'm going to be sharing my experience. I've had a few consultations with certain people regarding the visa as well. But I just felt like it's important to share my experience to help a lot more people. But first things first, as a disclaimer, your process is going to be different from my process. The certain decisions I made were because of the phase I was at the time, and my goal really was to get something that was very quick. I wanted something that was really, really quick. I was tight on time, so most of the things I'm going to say here are things that happened because of that limitation. It might be different for you. The duration of the whole process is also different for every applicant. It can range from 3 months or more. I've seen people that it took them 9 months, it took them a year, it took them 6 months, but I'll tell you how long it took me for my time. So I'm going to sector this video into different segments so it's easier. If you're looking for like a very quick answer, this is what this summary is going to be for. If you're interested in the details, please watch the video because there are a lot of things that I will say that will not be in like summary section. So on a summary, I started this process technically in October and I got my visa in January, and by October I mean October 2022. And I got my visa in January 2023. But so I'll go into details much later. But the project start date was October 7th. The project end date was January 26th. When I started contacting endorsement bodies was December 7th. I received my endorsement letter January 17th of 2023. I applied for my visa January 19th. And I did my biometrics January 24th. My visa application filing was done on January 25th. So there's a difference between applying on gov.uk. Because I was in the US, I had to do certain things which I'll talk about in the video. But So technically my visa was, the filing for my visa was January 25th, and I got my visa on the 26th of January, so less than 24 hours. So I'm going to be sharing with you everything I did from start to finish. And I left for the UK, I think February 24th, but last week of February, either February 24th or February 26th, thereabouts. Now, this is where the story begins. For those of you who do not know me, I was an international student in the US before leaving the US to the UK. I started to do my personal research in, let's say, August. Yeah, I started doing personal research. Once I knew that I was going to travel, I started doing personal research. During my research, I saw the Global Talent Visa, and I was contacting everyone. I paid for consultation. I worked with coaches, different people, to just understand the process. I was doing my personal research, but I was contacting coaches and paying for consultations as well. And one of the coaches I had met told me that, all the process, all the steps, all the requirements for the Global Talent Visa, and knowing that I had everything, but they were just scattered. It was going to take a long time for me to put all my, my evidence, my profile together. So that profile building process was going to take a long time for the Global Talent Visa. And remember, for me, any visa that was quickest was what I was looking for, but not just quickest, but also tailored to starting a company. And so the lady I had spoken to, she also then said, oh, based on our consultation, she was like, oh, you have this idea already. I think, you should consider this other visa. So she told me about the startup visa. So I started doing research on the startup visa. So when I did the research on the startup visa, I also saw that there was another visa called Innovator visa. So I'm giving a backstory so that you guys can understand, but if you're not interested in this story, maybe I'll just leave a link somewhere, like a timeline, so you can skip to that part to learn about other things. But I feel like this story is really important. A very simple reason why I did not go for the startup visa, from what I was reading and from information that I gathered from even attorneys and coaches, they said that they were going to stop the startup visa in 2023. So in my head, I'm like, I'm leaving the US. I don't want to come to a country and then I'm on a visa, then they will just scatter the visa, like they revoke the visa, then I'm in trouble. Like, I just don't want that at all. I needed stability in my life. So anything about any visa that was even uncertain and was going to be revoked, I was really scared. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And the startup visa was for 2 years. So usually when you get startup visa, you transition from the startup visa to the innovator visa. But just that uncertainty and knowing that it was going to be revoked, and I'm like, would they revoke it? And I just did not know what the outcome was going to be. I decided to go through with the innovator visa. Mind you, to apply for the innovator visa, you need to have £50,000 investment for the business. So whether it's a startup visa or the innovator visa, it's a business visa, but the innovator visa, you need to have a £50,000 investment that you are going to show to Home Office that is, you're going to be investing in the business. So that's the only difference. For a startup visa, you don't have something like that. But just the uncertainty and knowing that you are going to revoke it, and I'm like, am I going to be looking for, like, come to the UK and then start having visa issues, whatever. I was like, I'm not ready for that. And actually, they stopped that visa in April of 2023. So you can see, so looking back now, I know that, the innovator visa is harder to get, it's more complicated, financial requirement and stuff. But the certainty was just what drew me to it, and I just decided that I was going to go with the innovator visa. See how my journey started from like global talent visa to startup visa and now to innovator visa. So I then started new research on the innovator visa. I did all those research from like August to October. I paid for consultation. So you need to understand that I spent a lot of money on this process, and I eventually used this attorney to work on my visa, like from start to finish, and I paid him £10,000. So I paid him £9,000, but after the whole, the difference and everything, it was actually £10,000. It's on conversion rates and everything. I spent £10,000 to work with this attorney to guide me from scratch to the end up until when I got my visa. I just wanted to put it out there. If you're interested to speak to the attorney, let me know. I'll send his details to you. But I also do coach people. So if you're looking for some sort of help with like guidance and everything, you can book a consultation with me. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I've worked with some applicants that are looking to get on this visa as well. But this is not free, it's a paid service, but you're definitely not going to be paying 10,000 at all, nothing close to that at all. So the link to book a consultation for the Innovator visa, Startup visa, Global Talent visa is in the description as well, and I would be happy to work with you and guide you based on what I know. And being that I'm a recipient of the visa, I'm still in the UK, I'm building my company. The reason why I decided to work with him was he told me that if I worked with him, the whole process was going to be 6 weeks. That was the only thing I was hearing in my head. I wasn't even hearing the £10,000 because, again, remember at the time I was just really looking for something that was quick. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, Valeen, did you have any visa issues in the US? No, I didn't have any visa issues in the US. My visa was still valid. So I was still, I was working. I just felt like I was ready to leave the US for reasons best known to me that I'm not ready to talk about. I just felt like any option that was quickest for me was the best option. So when he said if I worked with him, I was going to get the visa in 6 weeks, that sold me already. And mind you, when I say that, work with him, I'll get the visa, it's not as if he's the one that gave me the visa. I did like 80% of the work. He was just guiding me from step to step. And then he was telling me, like, he would, because he was an attorney, would go over certain things. We were brainstorming together. And that's pretty much it. So it's not like you're going to go and then you're not going to do any work. No, I did very tedious work. That's pretty much it. Getting the visa, the first part is getting an endorsement from an endorsement body or center. When you get that endorsement, then they'll give you an endorsement letter. After you get the endorsement letter, you can then apply for your visa. And then when you get your visa, then you can move to the UK. Mind you, I made my application from the US. So if you're in a different country, there might be slight differences. I think generally everything would be the same. The only difference would come during the visa application process and just very minor things. But yeah, you need to check as well. The first thing we did was building out my business plan, because remember, this is a business visa. So you need to have a business idea. So I worked on my business idea. I created my business plan. And to be honest, it did not take us 6 weeks. Remember I said I started working with him in October and then I got my visa in January. So technically October, November, December, January. So like 3+ months. And you'll be one. So even in my head, like I remember I was like, I thought you said 6 weeks. Why didn't you because my mind was already set by 6 weeks time I will be leaving, only for me to discover that it took longer. So yeah, this is just something that you need to know. So after my business plan was ready, that took like 6 weeks to get the business plan ready. But at some point I was sick in November. I was hospitalized for about 2 weeks. So that, then when I got back, we started again. And once I was done with the business plan, the next phase, I started contacting the endorsement bodies. I think I reached out to 10 endorsement bodies. So what really happens is you reach out to these endorsement bodies. So these endorsement bodies, they would assess your business plan to be sure that it meets the criteria that is set by the Home Office. So guys, I will not say a lot about the stuff here. So if you want me to make another video to just explain that, let me know. So these endorsement bodies, their criteria or their assessment process is totally different. So depending on who you reach out to, their process will be different. And at the time, they had like over 100 endorsement bodies. When we were not getting fast response from the ones that my attorney had told me to reach out to, I just started reaching out to other people, like other endorsement bodies, because I really needed to get the visa and get something fast and leave, I got 5 endorsements. So when you reach out to them, they'll go through, they will assess and everything. And if they like the idea, they'll invite you for an interview. Some will send you a form to fill. Then after that, they'll ask you to send a presentation. They'll ask you to send a pitch deck. So you have to treat it like an actual interview, because if you don't pass that interview, they will not take you on. You will not get the endorsement letter. Case closed. So that's what happened. So I reached out and I got like 5. Nexus ESG, even after our first interview, they told me that I was going to like, he was like, congratulations. I know, we're supposed to like do like the formalities, but I want to tell you that we are happy to have you on board, right? Then the other one was, I reached out to Collider, I reached out to Capital Enterprise, I reached out to Queensbury, I reached out to the Startup Raise, I reached out to so I reached out to like, all these people. I heard back once from Capital Enterprise, I never heard back again. So they were very slow, Capital Enterprise. Collider, initially they were fast, but because it was December, remember my attorney had suggested we reach out to 3 initially, so those people were not responsive. So I started reaching out to other people, and then started reaching out to, and I had, during my personal research, I had stumbled on Innovator International, and I had reached out to them. I was already communicating with them even before I met, I started working with my attorney. So I just told him, you know what, these people, I've been communicating with them. We only stopped at the point where they asked me to send my business plan, and at that time, I did not even have my business plan ready. Finally, I reached out to them again, sent the business plan. It worked out. They were like, okay, cool. The startup raise, they were really nice. Every of these, people that I reached out to, they were nice. It's just that some were very slow, and some had expectations like that I wasn't comfortable with going through it. Like one was requesting for 10% equity in my business, and I just felt like, I'm just starting up, I don't really see the need. Finally, they did say that it was optional, but that if I want to go with the optional route, I will need to pay the 1-year membership straight up. The thing with all these endorsement bodies is that when you get an endorsement letter and you finally get your visa, every month you'll be paying them a membership fee for the duration of that visa. So some will charge you anywhere from 300, 600, 1,000, depending on the endorsement body that you go with. So you need to understand that. So the endorsement body that said that they were going to take a 10% equity. So if they like your idea, they can tell you that they want to take equity in the business. But I didn't want that. So they said, okay, it's optional, but you have to pay 1-year membership fee. And I was like, okay, I'm comfortable with that. But then they now said that they only prioritize people that, they have equity in their business. So they were not sure when they would give me an endorsement letter. So I just felt like that wasn't a right fit for me. It just felt like I was being forced to like give out equity when I wasn't ready. I mean, I'm not ready. I felt like I'm just starting. I've not even registered the company at the time. Even the optional part that I chose, they said that they will only prioritize the other people. Or the endorsement body, they have slots. So if they have already gotten to that cap of the slots that they've been given, then they can't take on more people. So you have to wait. Like I said, timing was everything for me. So I just felt like it wasn't the right fit, and I moved on. Then with Startup Raise, I think for that, it was going to be like a 6 months incubator period first before they give you the endorsement letter. And initially I was even considering it, but I was like, no, this 6 months is too much. Even they sent me the agreement form so that I can fill and join, because I did the first test that they give to us. I worked on it. They sent us to a platform. I did that test. I passed. Then we had an interview. He loved the idea, and then he sent the agreement. But by the time he had sent the agreement, I had already received my endorsement letter from Innovator International. So remember how I wasn't getting any response? And again, because it was December, I think things were also very slow, because I thought initially it was going to be 6 weeks, and we started in October. So I was already saying, okay, by November, I would have sent out those things, but it ended up being December. So they were very slow. Nothing was coming back, the whole process. So after I eventually reached out to Innovator International, they were very, very fast. They were very, very fast. And I loved that. They interviewed me. We went back and forth. I clarified certain questions they had. They wanted to be sure that I had like the 50k pounds investment. They wanted to see all the documents, all those things. We did that. They drilled me on the idea. Like, you have to be prepared. You have to be business prepared. So I was prepared. The more questions they had about like clarifications, I provided it to them. And finally, they gave me the endorsement letter. I received the endorsement letter January 17th. And with my attorney, I paid him 50% upfront of the money. And he now said, once I get the endorsement letter, I'll pay him the balance 50%. So once I got that endorsement letter, I now paid him the balance 50%, and then we moved on to the visa application phase. So I think I've talked about the research, the business plan, the outreach to the endorsement body, the interview with the endorsement body, the endorsement letter phase, and now moving on to visa stage. So for the visa stage, one of the things that they needed in terms of documentation was IELTS, and I'm like, why are you asking for IELTS and stuff? I don't have the strength to start studying and reading, like I wasn't ready for that. So I had to do like a degree conversion for my US certificate to the UK, and I used the ECTIS certificate conversion platform. I paid some money, and maybe I'll add the link in the description as well. So once my degree was converted, that served the purpose of the English language requirement. I also worked with a visa advisor in New York because I did my process from the US. There are different visa application centers. One was in New York, and because my attorney was already working with this person, he just recommended that we use the same person. And mind you, the fee that I paid my attorney is his fee. It has nothing to do with like the visa process, any other money that I paid, visa, priority, check, all of that. It had nothing to do with that. That 10K was just money that I paid to him, like his own fee. So every other fee I paid. So I spent a lot of money. For the visa application phase, I ensured that all my documents were ready and then applied on the gov.uk platform. Applying on the gov.uk platform is one thing. After that, you're going to go for your biometrics. I didn't do a tuberculosis test because I'm in the US. So depending on the country where you're located, you might be required to do a TB test. I didn't do any. It was after I had gotten to the UK that I think like 6 months after that, they said I should come and do like TB test. But like because I was in the US, and the US is not part of the countries that have to do TB. So if you are in Nigeria, you'll be expected to like do your TB tests as well as the biometrics. Visa advisor, his role was really when we were done filling out my visa application, I went to the VFS portal and then I added all my supporting documents, and I then sent my passport to them. I sent my passport, my biometrics confirmation letter. Yeah, I sent my supporting documents as well. I did the biometrics in Austin. I woke up very early. I had to go, and they attended to me. They were really nice and fast. I did the biometrics on January 24th, 2023. After I was done with the biometrics, they stamped my confirmation letter. So that letter and my passport, I then sent it to the person at the New York center. So I received an email from the guy that they had filed my visa application that January 25th. So remember, I did my biometrics 24th. January 25th, I sent my documents to him. January 25th, they filed for my visa application. By January 26th, I received a confirmation letter that my visa has been approved. My visa was approved. I was very excited. I was like, oh my God, finally. Because I was thinking I was going to leave the US before Christmas. But after my visa was approved, the next thing was to now prep for my departure, selling off my things, which was impossible because the way the country is built, you just have to trash your things, gift them. My friends were coming to take some. I even left some new things out there in our like it was just a messy thing. But finally I was able to like clear everything, break my lease. I paid a lot of money. Even after I'd left from US to the UK, they were still sending me that I was owing like 6,000, 3,000, that the gas was this is something that I took my time to clean everywhere, and they're still telling me that I needed to pay something. I'm like, what? And mind you, to break the lease, I had to pay for 2 months rent, additional 2 months rent to break the lease. So it was just, a very overwhelming experience. It was financially tasking, I'm not gonna lie. I had to sell my car. I don't know if you guys know that I bought a car because I didn't share it. I actually bought a car. I used the car for like, it wasn't up to 3 months, and I left. I sold the car below like what I got it. It was just but yeah, I'm excited. I'm now in the UK. I don't know if I answered all your questions in this video, but this is my journey. And if you have any additional question that I did not answer in this video, please leave them down below, and I'll try to answer them and respond to your comments. But if you want a dedicated one-on-one consultation, if you're looking to get the startup visa, there's no longer startup visa. If you're looking to get the Innovator visa or global talent visa or any business visa, you can reach out to me as well. But yeah, this is it, guys. I'll see you guys in my next video, and thank you for your support. Please subscribe if you haven't already.